All right. Records on, no team, no backup, just me and Jupiter. This is either a scientific breakthrough or the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Well, congratulations. You've officially lost your mind. And I'm the voice stuck in your head to watch it all unfold. And no, we're not moving until you subscribe to WIIDE. What if I discover everything?
All right. Keep going.
Jupiter, the fifth planet from the Sun and the biggest in our solar system. A swirling, violent colossus of hydrogen and helium with no solid ground to stand on. This is the first human descent into Jupiter's atmosphere. The mission: reach the lower layers. The danger: intense gravity, 1,000 kilometers per hour winds, and a pressure that turns atoms into metal.
One ship, one fool, and a planet with no floor. Engines holding steady, pressure's rising. We're breaching Jupiter's upper atmosphere. Let's descend into madness like professionals.
Well said, Captain Obvious.
Jupiter's upper atmosphere is a ballet of chaos. Bands of ammonia clouds stretch at thousands of kilometers per hour. Superstorms the size of Earth tear through the skies. The descent isn't just downward. It's into pressure, into temperature, into unknown states of matter.
Come on, girl. Breathe with me. Don't die yet.
At this depth, even the cabin is not safe. Hydrogen atoms squeeze into new phases. Radiation slips through shielding. Every signal slows. Every nerve misfires.
If we vanish here, no one will even hear it. Just gone.
It's not impact that kills you here. It's existence. Jupiter holds no monuments, no ruins, no bones, only density and silence. This is where force wins over form, where atoms forget they were once people, where even memory has weight. But for a moment, a small human voice touched this place, and that moment mattered. Subscribe to WIIDE, because if we ever reach Saturn, it will be because you believed someone was worth following into the dark. See you next time. Day turned into night, then back into day. The moon now dominates the sky. Tides went wild. Satellites failed. Nothing on Earth is normal anymore. Debris from the moon is raining down. The impact hasn't happened yet, but it's close. So, what if the moon really did collide with Earth? No slow buildup, no mercy, just one catastrophic event after another. We're breaking it down step by step, from the first tremor to the final impact. Brace yourself. Let's get into it. The collision is just days away. Scientists detect a sudden shift in the moon's orbit. Emergency alerts are triggered across the globe. But a greater disaster is looming. The gravitational balance is breaking. As the moon gets even closer, the tides evolve into mega tsunamis. The atmosphere destabilizes, power grids collapse, satellites fail, GPS no longer works. Humanity witnesses a natural disaster unlike anything ever seen before. And finally, impact. The moon is 3,474 kilometers across. Its mass is just 1/81 of Earth's. But even that is enough to cause a planet-wide catastrophe. Earth's axis shifts. Seasons are thrown into chaos. The sky darkens for months. Plants can no longer photosynthesize. The food chain collapses. Earth becomes a planet reshaped by cosmic violence. Luckily, this is only a scenario. The moon remains in a stable orbit, for now. But in this universe, nothing is truly impossible. Could such a collision really happen someday? Let us know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more mind-blowing disaster scenarios. The sun, that massive ball of fire giving us warmth, light, and life itself. Now imagine this. You wake up one morning, turn on the news, and hear something unbelievable.
The sun could explode at any moment.
Hold on. What does that even mean? Would the sky be swallowed by a giant fireball? Or would everything end before we even realized what was happening? Today, we're diving into one of the most chilling cosmic possibilities ever imagined. What if the sun exploded today? First, let's clear something up. The sun will die one day. But not in some sudden, cinematic explosion. Scientists estimate it has around 5 billion years left before its life cycle ends. When that time comes, the sun will expand into a red giant and eventually shrink into a white dwarf. But what if that slow process started right now? This brings us to a concept known as a supernova. A supernova is a powerful explosion that marks the death of a massive star, one of the most dramatic events in the universe. So could our sun go supernova? And if it did, what would happen to us here on Earth? The sun is not big enough to go supernova, but that doesn't mean it's immortal. The scary part? We wouldn't even see it coming. Since it takes 8 minutes for light to travel from the sun to Earth, if the explosion happened right now, we wouldn't know until it was already too late. The first effect? Half the planet would be incinerated instantly. Temperatures would skyrocket to thousands of degrees, vaporizing the oceans in an instant. And the lucky other half? Well, they'd be thrown into total darkness, with temperatures plummeting rapidly. But here's the real problem. With the sun gone, its gravitational pull disappears. Earth would no longer have anything keeping it in orbit. It would drift aimlessly through space, completely lost. So, what would we do? How could we survive? If we had advance warning, maybe we could build underground cities powered by geothermal energy. But long-term? 1 week later, surface temperatures drop to -18 degrees Celsius, 0 degrees Fahrenheit. 1 year later, the planet freezes over with temperatures around -73 degrees Celsius, -100 degrees Fahrenheit. 1,000 years later, Earth's atmosphere collapses, turning the planet into a frozen, lifeless rock. There's a slight chance that Earth could be pulled into the orbit of another star, but by then, we'd be long gone.
Harry, tell me good news, man.
Here's the good news. If the sun were to explode, it wouldn't happen overnight. It would take millions of years of gradual expansion before anything dramatic happened. In the end, the sun's death will create the building blocks for new stars, planets, and maybe even new life. What do you think? Could humanity find a way to survive? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more mind-blowing videos. See you next journey.
Right now, there's an extraordinary trend among the ultra-wealthy. They are all scrambling to prepare for an impending doomsday scenario. This movement has many facets, but the most striking one is the construction of ultra-luxurious, high-tech fortresses designed to protect them from potential global catastrophes. Unlike the grand castles of the past, these modern-day sanctuaries are no longer being built above ground. They're being buried deep beneath the earth. These underground bunkers are designed to be completely immune to nuclear warfare, deadly pandemics, widespread riots, and even civil wars. But don't picture cramped, dimly lit rooms or makeshift basement shelters. The bunkers the ultra-rich are building are nothing short of sprawling, self-sustaining underground cities reflecting their limitless wealth in every possible way. Some are spending millions, others hundreds of millions, on these subterranean mansions, equipped with everything they need to survive indefinitely. And this isn't just a passing trend among a handful of billionaires. What once seemed like a far-fetched idea straight out of a sci-fi movie has now turned into a booming industry. In fact, experts predict that in the next decade, the demand for these elite survival complexes will skyrocket. So, what's really going on? Do the world's richest people know something we don't? What exactly are they preparing for, and why now? Let's take a closer look. Oh, and before we dive in, if you enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. It all started when Meta's CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, made headlines for purchasing a vast portion of Hawaii's land and building a $270 million fortress-like estate called Ko'olau Ranch, spanning an astonishing 5.5 million square meters. This massive property is surrounded by 2-meter-high walls and employs hundreds of local Hawaiians to maintain its grounds. Security patrols roam the beaches on ATVs, keeping a watchful eye on the estate. But what's truly intriguing is what lies beneath. Hidden underground is a 500-square-meter doomsday bunker, designed to withstand the unthinkable. While details remain scarce due to strict secrecy, reports suggest that the bunker is fortified against nuclear blasts and equipped with self-sustaining food and energy sources. And Zuckerberg? He's just one of the many ultra-wealthy individuals quietly securing a place to ride out the apocalypse. It is widely known that Bill Gates has private bunkers built beneath each of his mansions. Similarly, celebrities like Elon Musk, Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, Shaquille O'Neal, and Tom Cruise are rumored to have installed secret shelters or panic rooms in their homes. Additionally, in 2022, PayPal's co-founder, Peter Thiel, attempted to construct a large-scale survival complex in the remote mountains of New Zealand. However, authorities rejected his request. As for the current status of these projects, it's unclear. But according to companies specializing in bunker construction, countless ultra-wealthy individuals are investing in underground sanctuaries, particularly in New Zealand and Alaska. The appeal of these isolated locations lies in their ability to remain among the last unaffected areas in the event of civil unrest, nuclear conflict, or large-scale biological and chemical warfare. But it's not just those locations. In the United States, an old missile silo in Arkansas was repurposed into a high-end bunker and living space, with a restoration cost of nearly $1 million. Similarly, in Europe, former coal mines and hidden shelters deep within the Swiss Alps are becoming increasingly popular among those preparing for an uncertain future. The bunkers built by the ultra-wealthy come with features beyond imagination. Many are more luxurious than 5-star resorts. They include LED systems that simulate natural sunlight, hydroponic farms and fish hatcheries that allow for year-round food production, climate-controlled swimming pools, artificial waterfalls, bowling alleys, private cinemas, spas, gyms, and even yoga studios. These underground mini-worlds function like self-sustaining micronations, completely isolated from the surface. They are equipped with advanced water filtration systems, independent power plants, massive generators, and chemical and radiological air filtration units. Food supplies are meticulously planned to last for decades, with some bunkers designed to sustain multiple generations. And despite being underground, they still offer high-speed internet, satellite communication, virtual reality rooms, and even artificial skylights with indoor gardens to help maintain psychological well-being during long stays. These are, without a doubt, marvels of modern engineering. But this is also a stark reminder of the ever-growing gap between the ultra-rich and the rest of society. Many of these bunkers cost between $15 to $20 million, while some projects exceed $100 million. Though the industry is expanding, 2 companies lead the market. One of them is SAFE, Strategically Armored and Fortified Environments, run by Al Corby, a key figure in luxury bunker construction. According to Corby, one of their clients, a high-profile billionaire, wanted to ensure that no one could reach his family in case of an uprising or an attack. So, Corby built him a modern fortress on a 1 square kilometer estate. This structure was designed to withstand a nuclear explosion from 1.5 kilometers away. But that wasn't enough. The estate was surrounded by a 10-meter-deep moat, filled with water. Still not secure? They added a layer of flammable chemicals on the water's surface, so if an attack happened, the owner could set the moat on fire to deter intruders. And what if an airborne assault occurred? Apache helicopters or paratroopers? The estate was fitted with water cannons capable of taking down threats from 200 meters away. Still not satisfied, they reinforced the perimeter with walls strong enough to stop a truck moving at 120 kilometers per hour. And in case of a vehicle assault, special tunnels were designed to trap intruders and flood them with gas. Absurd, right? But one bunker isn't enough for these people. Both Zuckerberg's Hawaiian estate and this billionaire's fortress feature multiple interconnected bunkers, linked by underground tunnels. So if one fails, they can escape to another. Some companies even sell shared access to these bunkers. For hundreds of thousands of dollars, you can purchase a membership-like pass, similar to a luxury vacation club, that guarantees you a spot in one of these shelters in case of a global catastrophe. But why go to such extremes? Well, the rise of doomsday-themed movies and documentaries in recent years has played a big role. After all, it's not just us watching these films. The ultra-rich are watching them too. They discuss these scenarios among themselves, and unlike ordinary people, they have the wealth and resources to prepare for the worst. When you have unlimited money and time, why not plan for every possible future? But here's the thing. Doomsday prepping isn't just a trend among the ultra-rich. Back in the 1980s, during the height of the Cold War and the ever-present threat of nuclear war, a movement known as survivalism began to take shape in the United States. This movement, often referred to as the prepper community, consists of people who prepare for potential natural disasters, civil unrest, and global crises. These individuals plan for both short-term and long-term emergencies by building their own bunkers, stockpiling weapons, storing food and water, and even training themselves to survive without electricity or modern infrastructure. Many of them learn first aid, self-defense, and wilderness survival skills to ensure they're ready for anything. Honestly, I believe everyone should have some level of preparedness for catastrophic events. Knowing basic first aid, having an evacuation plan, or even keeping a small supply of non-perishable food at home isn't a bad idea. After all, being prepared never hurts. Especially when you consider that we are moving further away from World War II, and as time passes, we seem to forget the destruction it caused. Because of this, we are becoming more reckless, engaging in behaviors that could very well trigger a third world war. The harsh reality is that a global catastrophe, such as nuclear war, may not be as far off as we'd like to think. However, the problem is that rational concern often spirals into exaggerated paranoia, and not just political conspiracies. Some members of the prepper community genuinely believe in outlandish scenarios, like a zombie outbreak or an alien invasion, as legitimate threats. This isn't exactly a normal or healthy belief system. What's worse, as with many conspiracy theories, once someone starts believing in one, they tend to fall for more. Preppers who fear a zombie apocalypse may also believe that governments are secretly developing zombies in underground labs, which then shapes their political views. Others buy into UFO myths, which can lead them down a rabbit hole of pseudo-history, like theories about the lost continent of Atlantis or ancient aliens building the pyramids. It's a slippery slope, and for some, these beliefs become a fundamental part of their identity. Over time, this mindset completely consumes them, often preying on those who lack proper education or critical thinking skills. Of course, this is a problem, but comparing the apocalypse preparations of multi-billionaires to what regular people might do isn't exactly fair. When an average citizen spends a few $1,000s on emergency supplies, it's usually because they're overestimating the likelihood of a disaster. Yes, an apocalyptic event could happen, but statistically speaking, the chances of it happening within our lifetime are quite low. Meanwhile, the ultra-rich treat this tiny risk as if it were imminent and prepare accordingly, sometimes in absurdly extravagant ways. For them, doomsday prepping isn't paranoia, it's an investment. Even if one of these luxury bunkers costs $20 million for someone worth $100 billion, that's like an average person spending $5. Would you spend $5 to protect yourself and your family from a potential catastrophe? Of course you would. No matter how low the risk, it's still worth it. This is exactly the Pascal's wager that the ultra-wealthy are playing. If doomsday never happens, they lose what is, to them, a trivial amount of money. They wouldn't even notice it. But if disaster does strike, then their survival could depend on it. So for them, spending millions on an underground fortress isn't reckless, it's a no-brainer. The ultra-rich have recognized a dangerous trend. The wealth gap between the rich and the poor is widening at an unprecedented rate. The poor are getting poorer, while the rich continue to amass unimaginable fortunes. Consider this. Right now, the combined net worth of America's three wealthiest individuals, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg, exceeds the total wealth of the poorest 50% of the US population. That means just 3 people own more than 60 million families, or 165 million citizens combined. And the gap is only growing. In 2019, you needed to add up the wealth of the top 5 richest individuals to reach the same disparity. In 2017, it took the top 6. At this rate, it won't be long before a single person holds more wealth than 200 to 300 million Americans combined. And this isn't just a US phenomenon, it's happening worldwide. The wealthy know that this imbalance can't last forever. Historically, whenever wealth has been distributed this unevenly, it has always ended in violence and upheaval. The likelihood of this playing out somewhere in the world, sooner or later, is very high. And if it happens in one place, it could easily trigger domino effects in other nations. So, is it really surprising that the ultra-rich are already building self-sufficient survival bunkers to prepare for the inevitable? Let's be honest. How effective are these multi-million-dollar bunkers in the long run? Sure, they might provide temporary shelter, but what happens after a few months? Humans are social creatures. No matter how advanced their underground worlds are, isolation will eventually take its toll. Artificial skies and luxury amenities can only do so much when resources are finite. And here's the irony. Many of these billionaires are already preparing for this breakdown in trust. They've hired private security forces to protect them. But what happens when money loses its value? Why would a heavily armed guard remain loyal when they could just take over the bunker instead? Some billionaires are even signing post-apocalyptic survival contracts with security firms, promising resource-sharing agreements in the event of societal collapse. But let's be real. How enforceable would those be in a lawless world? If the ultra-rich truly want to prepare for the future, maybe they should fix the world they're so desperate to escape from by addressing the climate crisis, wealth inequality, economic instability, and failing social structures before it's too late. Because at the end of the day, money can't buy a civilization. What do you think? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more thought-provoking content.
Volcanoes are among the most powerful and unforgiving forces of nature. If you were to fall into one, your body would quickly boil, bubble up, and disappear without a trace. But if volcanoes are so effective at destroying things, why don't we use them to dispose of our trash? What happened to the researchers who tried this? Could volcanoes really function as massive incinerators? And if we tried this, what kind of environmental consequences would we face? Today, the world generates 2.2 billion tons of waste per year. And by 2050, this number is expected to rise to 3.4 billion tons. As humanity struggles with massive piles of waste, some unusual ideas are emerging. One of them being dumping our trash into volcanoes. But as appealing as it sounds, it might not be that simple. While volcanoes represent nature's destructive power, using them as waste disposal sites is far from practical. In fact, if not done correctly, this method could cause even more harm to our planet. There are approximately 1,500 potentially active volcanoes worldwide, but most of them are located far from populated areas. Transporting all of our waste to a volcano would be logistically expensive. Plus, not all volcanoes are suitable for the job. If we were to dispose of waste in a volcano, our best option would be shield volcanoes, the ones with lava lakes that flow slowly and continuously. However, these are quite rare. More commonly, we would encounter stratovolcanoes, the explosive kind that build up pressure from trapped gases and magma. If we were to dump waste into the wrong type of volcano, we could trigger a major disaster. Let's say we successfully managed to dump our trash into a shield volcano. Would this really be an effective solution? In 2002, Ethiopian researchers threw a 30-kilogram bag of trash into the Erta Ale volcano. The result? A massive explosion. The sudden introduction of cooler materials into the lava lake caused a rapid steam explosion due to extreme pressure changes. If we were to dump an entire nation's trash into a volcano, these explosions could reach hundreds of meters high. Burning trash is already not an environmentally friendly process. Throwing waste into volcanoes would release not just the natural volcanic gases, but also toxic fumes from plastics and other synthetic materials. This could damage the ozone layer and significantly increase air pollution. While lava seems to destroy everything, some materials don't fully decompose. Metals and radioactive waste, for example, could resurface, contaminating the surrounding environment. If we were to dump nuclear waste into a volcano, radioactive particles could spread into the air, posing a severe health risk. So if dumping trash into volcanoes isn't a great idea, what other solutions do we have? Some countries burn their waste to generate electricity. For example, Sweden converts 99% of its trash into energy. If we're going to burn waste, we might as well do it in a controlled environment to create useful energy. While 75% of waste is recyclable, only 13% is actually recycled worldwide. If we focused on recycling instead of dumping, we could significantly reduce environmental harm. Theoretically, we could launch our waste into space. But here's the problem. Sending just 1 ton of trash into space costs about $10 million. So, at least for now, this isn't an economically viable solution. Final verdict. Should we dump trash into volcanoes? Short answer, no. Volcanoes may be among the most powerful forces in nature, but that doesn't mean we should turn them into garbage disposal sites. This method could pollute the air, release toxic gases, and trigger massive explosions. In the future, we may discover more innovative waste disposal methods. But for now, recycling and waste-to-energy technologies remain the most logical options. What do you think? Would dumping trash into volcanoes be a good idea? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more thought-provoking explorations. You're floating in space, billions of miles from home, when suddenly you see it. A perfect circle of darkness, twisting and swallowing the light around it. A black hole. Your ship is caught in its pull. There's no escape. The event horizon looms closer. This is it. Your final moments as you spiral into the unknown. What happens now? Do you get stretched into spaghetti? Do you vanish forever, or could you actually survive? First, let's clear something up. Despite the name, a black hole isn't really a hole. It's what remains when a massive star dies, collapses in on itself, and forms an object so dense that its gravity pulls in everything, even light. Nothing can escape its grasp, not planets, not stars, not even you. Yes, even you, the one who hasn't subscribed to our ever-evolving channel yet. Don't let this video disappear into the void. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Now, where were we? If you think Earth's gravity is strong, imagine squeezing 4 suns into an area just 24 kilometers across, about the distance you could cover in a 30-minute drive. The gravity here is so extreme that time itself slows down. Cross the event horizon, and there's no turning back. Let's say you're falling feet first into this cosmic abyss. You might not feel anything at first, but the deeper you go, the more gravity plays its cruel trick. The force pulling on your feet is much stronger than the force pulling on your head. Your body stretches like a spaghetti noodle. Scientists actually call this spaghettification. If you fell into a stellar black hole, you'd be torn apart before even reaching the event horizon. But what if you fell into a supermassive black hole? Then you might just make it past the event horizon intact, and that's where things get really strange. Inside, space and time do something bizarre. Time slows down. and eventually stops. To an outside observer, you'd appear frozen at the edge of the event horizon, never actually falling in. But from your perspective, you're still moving. Where to? No one knows. Could black holes be portals to alternate universes? Stephen Hawking once suggested they might be. In one reality, you were torn apart. In another, you never fell in at all. If you somehow survive the singularity, what's next? Some scientists believe you could be spit out into a white hole, the opposite of a black hole, where matter is ejected instead of consumed. Others think you'd become one with the black hole, your atoms stretched across time. But if there's one thing we know for sure, it's this. Once you cross the event horizon, there's no coming back. So if you ever find yourself drifting toward one, maybe turn your ship around. Black holes remain one of the biggest mysteries in the universe. What do you think happens inside one? Let us know in the comments. And if you want to dive into more cosmic mysteries, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because next time, we might just take you to a wormhole. An asteroid is hurtling towards Earth. At first, scientists believed it would pass us by safely. But new calculations suggest they were terribly mistaken. Now, this space rock, known as 2024 YR4, is on a direct collision course with our planet. And time is running out. What happens next? This isn't just science fiction. This asteroid was discovered only recently, in December 2024, by astronomers tracking near-Earth objects. At first, it appeared to be just another harmless rock, one of the many that whiz past our planet each year. But as its trajectory became clearer, the shocking truth was revealed. This asteroid has a small but real chance of impact on December 22, 2032. Initial calculations suggest a 2.3% chance of impact, meaning roughly a 1 in 43 probability. To put that into perspective, that's significantly higher than the odds of winning some national lotteries. This uncertainty places it at level 3 on the Torino Impact Hazard Scale, a level that warrants close monitoring. Size matters when it comes to asteroids, and 2024 YR4 is no exception. Scientists estimate its diameter to be between 40 to 90 meters. While it's no planet killer like the Chicxulub impactor that wiped out the dinosaurs, make no mistake, an asteroid of this size can still cause catastrophic damage. For reference, the infamous Tunguska event in 1908, which flattened 2,000 square kilometers of Siberian forest, is believed to have been caused by an asteroid or comet of similar size. If this asteroid were to enter our atmosphere, the devastation could be immense, especially if it impacts a populated area. Stopping an incoming asteroid isn't as simple as launching a missile at it. Scientists have proposed several potential solutions to deflect or destroy asteroids like 2024 YR4 before they reach us. One option is a kinetic impactor, where a spacecraft is sent to collide with the asteroid, slightly altering its path. NASA has already tested this method successfully with the DART Double Asteroid Redirection Test mission in 2022. But can we pull off a similar maneuver in time? Another strategy is the gravity tractor method. A large spacecraft would fly alongside the asteroid for an extended period, using its gravitational pull to gradually shift the asteroid's course. However, this approach requires years of preparation, a luxury we may not have. And then there's the nuclear option. A well-placed nuclear explosion could either shatter the asteroid or vaporize part of its surface, creating enough thrust to alter its trajectory. But this comes with serious risks. Breaking the asteroid into multiple pieces could result in a deadly meteor shower, spreading destruction across the planet. What if everything fails? What if we run out of time and get hit by an asteroid? If it lands in the Pacific Ocean, the most likely impact site due to Earth's geography, the resulting explosion would trigger colossal tsunamis, with waves over 30 meters high, striking coastlines from California to Japan. The aftermath would resemble the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, except on a much larger scale. However, if 2024 YR4 were to hit land, the effects would be different, but just as devastating. Upon impact, the asteroid would release as much energy as hundreds of nuclear bombs, creating a crater over 1.5 kilometers wide. If it struck a major city, millions could perish instantly. The dust and debris launched into the sky could block sunlight for weeks or months, creating an impact winter. Agriculture would suffer, food supplies would shrink, and global temperatures could drop dramatically. While humanity would likely survive, the world as we know it would change forever. Fortunately, we still have time. This asteroid may not be an immediate threat, but it reminds us of just how vulnerable our planet is. Tracking asteroids, developing planetary defense systems, and preparing for the unexpected. These are no longer just ideas from science fiction. They are essential to ensuring the survival of our world. What do you think? Should we invest more in asteroid defense? Would humanity survive an impact event? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the dangers lurking in space, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on our next cosmic adventure. See you next time.